Picture this moment that sent shockwaves through the centuries-old institution of the British monarchy, a moment when tradition collided with modernity on one of fashion's most prestigious stages, and a young princess stood at the center of it all, making history with every step she took down that iconic carpet. What you're about to discover will completely change how you view the evolution of royal protocol and the courage it takes to break free from expectations that have bound generations before you. 6 years ago, Princess Beatrice of York walked into the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City and became only the second member of the British royal family ever to attend the legendary Met Gala, an event that combines high fashion with celebrity culture in ways that traditionally made Buckingham Palace extremely uncomfortable. This wasn't just another appearance on a red carpet. This was a statement that resonated far beyond the fashion world and into the very heart of what it means to be royal in the 21st century. Before we dive deeper into this fascinating story, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now, because we bring you the most compelling royal stories and hidden moments that mainstream media often overlooks. And don't forget to share this video with anyone who loves royal history and fashion, and drop your thoughts in the comments below, because your perspective matters and we love hearing from this incredible community. The Met Gala represents everything that traditional royal protocol has historically avoided, a fundraising event that thrives on extravagance, celebrity spectacle, and boundary-pushing fashion that often challenges conventional notions of propriety and restraint. For decades, the British royal family maintained a careful distance from events like this, preferring state dinners, charity galas with strict dress codes, and appearances that reinforced dignity and formality rather than embraced the unpredictable energy of pop culture's biggest night. When Princess Beatrice accepted that invitation, she knew exactly what she was doing and the statement she was making, not as an act of rebellion but as a declaration that modern royalty could navigate multiple worlds simultaneously without losing their identity or compromising their values. She understood that younger generations needed to see royals who could honor tradition while also participating authentically in contemporary culture, bridging gaps that previous generations either couldn't or wouldn't attempt to cross. The significance of this moment becomes even more profound when you consider who came before her, because Princess Beatrice wasn't the first royal to break this particular barrier. That distinction belongs to another member of the family who tested these waters and opened a door that Beatrice would walk through with confidence and grace, showing that one act of courage often paves the way for others to follow with their own authentic expressions. Understanding the context requires looking at how the royal family has historically managed its public image and the delicate balance between maintaining mystique and remaining relevant in an age where authenticity and accessibility matter more than ever to younger audiences worldwide. The monarchy has survived for over 1,000 years precisely because of its ability to adapt when necessary, to evolve without losing its core identity, and to recognize when holding too tightly to outdated restrictions could alienate the very people whose support ensures its continued existence. Princess Beatrice's attendance wasn't approved through official royal channels because she doesn't perform official royal duties as a working member of the family, which actually gave her more freedom to make this choice as a private citizen who happens to carry a royal title. This distinction matters enormously because it reveals how the modern royal structure creates different categories of family members with varying degrees of autonomy and responsibility, allowing some to explore opportunities that would be impossible for senior working royals bound by stricter protocols and expectations. The fashion world noticed immediately, and the symbolism wasn't lost on anyone paying attention to these cultural intersections. Here was a princess at an event curated by Anna Wintour, surrounded by Hollywood celebrities, musicians, designers, and influencers, all celebrating creativity and self-expression in ways that royal engagements rarely accommodate. The guest list alone represented a universe far removed from traditional royal circles, yet Beatrice navigated it naturally, proving that royal status doesn't have to mean isolation from broader cultural conversations. What makes this story even more compelling is how it reflects broader changes happening within the royal family itself, changes driven by necessity and recognition that younger generations have different expectations about what monarchy should represent in their lives. The old model of distant, untouchable figures performing ceremonial duties feels increasingly disconnected from a world that values personal connection, vulnerability, and authentic engagement over carefully constructed public personas designed to maintain mystique. Princess Beatrice's choice to attend the Met Gala represented personal agency and the exercise of freedom within the constraints of royal identity, showing that it's possible to respect your heritage while also claiming space to be yourself beyond the weight of titles and expectations. This balance matters tremendously for younger royals watching and learning how to carve out meaningful lives that honor their families while also building identities not solely defined by the circumstances of their birth. The event itself that year carried particular significance with its theme and the conversations it sparked about fashion as art, as social commentary, as historical document, and as personal expression. Beatrice's participation added another layer to these conversations because her presence asked important questions about who belongs in these spaces and what barriers remain to be broken in institutions that have traditionally operated with invisible but powerful gatekeeping mechanisms. Looking back 6 years later, we can see how this single appearance contributed to gradual shifts in how we perceive royal participation in cultural events, opening doors for future possibilities and demonstrating that engaging with contemporary culture doesn't diminish royal relevance but actually enhances it by showing that royals exist as real people navigating the same world as everyone else. The alternative, maintaining rigid separation from modern cultural life, increasingly feels like a path toward irrelevance rather than preservation of dignity. Princess Beatrice's courage that evening shouldn't be underestimated because making choices that deviate from expected patterns always requires strength, especially when you know those choices will be analyzed, criticized, and debated by people who believe they understand what you should do better than you understand yourself. Every step she took that night carried the weight of history and the promise of change, a combination that requires remarkable composure and confidence in your own judgment despite external pressures. The ripple effects of that appearance continue today in subtle ways that influence how younger royals think about their own possibilities and limitations, how the public perceives the flexibility or rigidity of royal protocols, and how the monarchy itself adapts to remain meaningful in rapidly changing cultural landscapes. These seemingly small moments of deviation from tradition accumulate over time into larger patterns of evolution that transform institutions from within, often more effectively than dramatic confrontations or public declarations. What we witnessed 6 years ago was more than just a princess attending a glamorous party. It was a glimpse into the future of monarchy where relevance comes from authentic engagement rather than isolated dignity, where tradition informs rather than imprisons, and where the next generation finds ways to honor the past while building futures that feel genuinely theirs. Princess Beatrice showed us that breaking barriers doesn't require burning bridges, that evolution can happen gradually through individual choices that collectively create momentum for change. The question that remains unanswered and perhaps most fascinating is what doors will open next for royals willing to step beyond traditional boundaries, and which member of the family will be brave enough to walk through them knowing they carry the hopes of those who believe monarchy must change to survive and the judgment of those who believe any change diminishes what makes it special. So here's what I want to know from you. Do you think Princess Beatrice's decision to attend the Met Gala represented an important step forward for modernizing the royal family, or do you believe some traditions and boundaries should remain untouched no matter how much the world changes around them?